Hi, I'm Annie Purdue-Olson, and I am Leadership Strategist with Leading Better Together. I guide leaders through the relationship complexities that derail our teams and get us in trouble when we're working together. And one of those challenges is leading change. You know, over the last couple of decades, there's been lots of surveys that have been done asking leaders, how is change going in your organization? And amazingly enough, across those surveys, about 50 to 70% of leaders are saying that they don't feel like change is as effective as they need it to be. So in light of that, McKinsey decided to ask the question why. We would ask the question why, right? Why is change efforts not as effective as we want them to be? And in their study, they found two reasons: management behaviors and employee attitudes. It was actually the people side of change that was derailing a lot of the change efforts that leaders were trying to make. And the people side of change really matters. So you can have the best laid plans, you can have a good communication strategy, you can have everything in order. It can be a brilliant change idea. But even in all of that brilliance, if you haven't given attention to the people side of change, it's not going to be as effective as you want it to be. So in light of that, let's talk about 4 different change styles that influence that. They're based on the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, which gives you 4 letters that describe your personality if you take the assessment. And this is the combination of the first 2 letters on the Myers-Briggs. So extroversion and introversion, or sensing and intuition. You take those 4 letters, you put them in combination, and you come up with 4 styles that people tend to use when they're approaching change. So we all have different needs in change. We have different communication that we want in change. We want to contribute in different ways when it comes to change. And all of these can be influenced by our personality preferences as described by the Myers-Briggs. So let's dive into all 4 and take the time to notice yourself in one of these change styles and notice the people around you and how they might also be displaying their preferences during times of change. The first one I want to talk about is the dreamers. The dreamers are all about change. They love new ideas. Their motto is change it. That'll make it better. Their second motto is trust me. It'll work. It'll work, I promise. So they have lots of ideas. They're thinking 5, 10 years in the future, even maybe just 6 months in the future, but they're very future focused. And they want to be able to see their dreams become a reality. But they have a lot of them, a lot of different ideas and a lot of different dreams. So if you've got a dreamer, you want to get them involved early on in the stage of change, because if they're involved early on and they can capture your vision, they can be an awesome mouthpiece for what you're trying to accomplish in the organization. They can inspire others, they can get them on board, because that's just what they do. They get energized and excited by change. Now, they may be resistant to change if it's something that they haven't had the ability to contribute to. So if you have someone that comes into your office and they're a dreamer and they have an idea that they would like to see happen, one of the best things that you can offer them is some really good coaching questions, some questions that help them nurture their idea, because dreamers jump from one idea to the next idea to the next idea. And so you want to have them camp on an idea and dive in a little bit deeper. And that's one of the ways that you can help them grow in their leadership and their way of approaching change. Now, the dreamer has an opposite, because the dreamer is extroversion and intuition. So their opposite is introversion and sensing. So the dreamer's opposite is the fixer. And the fixer also has a motto. The motto for the fixer is, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So change it, that'll make it better. And if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So this is one of the big challenges of change styles, is sometimes they're opposite. But what you got to notice is that when you're facing change, these fixers can see how it needs to be done. You got to show them the data. They got to see the facts. So you can't just come to them with an idea. They are going to have process questions. And they are going to want to know why the change is even necessary. So you're going to have to prove to them that there is a problem that needs to be solved. So one of the things that you can do is bring them in early on and help them identify what the problem is and what potential solutions might actually work. Or come to them with an idea that's at least half thought out. And if that idea is half thought out, that fixer can take it the rest of the way. The fixers are also the finishers. They're the ones that execute on it. Your dreamers aren't so great at accomplishing and getting things done because they're moving on to the next idea. Your fixers are the ones that actually can see it through and help the change become sustainable and effective in the organization. So we need both. I would also like to introduce you to the doers. Now, the doers are extroversion and sensing, and they are all about relevant change in the here and now. Practical problems that need to be solved right now. We're not talking 5-10 years from now. Break it down. What needs to be done right now that can make a difference, that can make an impact. Now, your doers can also be your translators. If they capture that dream that the dreamer has, or if they capture the dream that they might have on their own, they translate that dream into action. They create plans, they create steps. They're all about the steps, and they're all about encouraging other people to get on board, and they tell them what to do. So they're great delegators. It's like, here, you do this, and here's step 1, and here's step 2, and here's step 3. They can really map out what needs to happen in the change. And they can actually be good translators between the dreamer and the doer, because they can take that dream and turn it into action. So you really want to give them a role. They do not like meetings. They want a role that gives them action. So meetings where they're talking about more ideas won't be as fun for them. They really want to be able to take action and do something with it. So they'll be drumming their fingers on the table if they have to be sitting in meetings for too long. And their opposite is introversion and intuition. They are the thinkers. Now, they want to think about the idea in another way. They want to dig deep and make sure that they've got that idea down and that the solution is the right solution. And that's really important to them. So they will be slow to speak. They will take the time to think. So if they're sitting in a meeting, they're going to be taking in more information. They're going to be asking more questions. They are going to be silent sometimes, and they are going to be looking at it from all different angles. So when they do ask questions, they're oftentimes pretty analytical questions, because they want to take that idea, that concept, or that problem and turn it upside down and inside out and look at it from every angle. They may even play devil's advocate at times, but they're not trying to be critical. They really are truly trying to understand the idea or understand the problem so that they can come to the best solution. But they will often be the one in the meeting that will be slow to speak. They will take it all in, and then at the end of the meeting, they put it all together and they say something very profound. So don't miss out on the opportunity. If you've got somebody in the meeting and they don't seem to be engaging, it's not because they're disengaged. It might be because they're a thinker. And at the end of the meeting, you can extend the invitation to them and say, hey, what are your thoughts about this? And when you do that, you could get something profound. You could get a nuance to the problem or the solution that you haven't thought of before. So each of these 4 styles are powerful in helping us navigate the people side of change.